Well, it's very clear that you are dealing with rogue characters who think that when they like it, they will respect the constitution. When they don't like it, they will throw it out of the window. Such people, such as Jacob Zuma and Ace Magashule, are very dangerous and they pose a very serious threat to the stability and the integrity of our republic. Now, this is a moment when all South Africans who love this country must stand up and condemn in unison such kind of conduct by Ace Magashule and Jacob Zuma.
You say that they pose a dangerous risk to our country. Why is that? I mean, do they have strong support to disrupt the constitutional order?
No, this is what they are trying to do. They are trying to send a message to South Africans that it is possible to disregard the constitution without consequence. If that were to happen, in other words, what they are advocating were to happen, it would open floodgates for many other rogues in society to tear apart our constitution. And remember, Stephen, our constitution is the only document that holds us together as citizens. If we throw it out of the window and we allow Ace Magashule and Jacob Zuma to do what they want to do, there will be nothing that will make you and I as South Africans not to do as we wish, not to step on the rights of other citizens. That's the sense in which I say they are dangerous, because they want to destroy the foundation and the thread that holds us together as citizens.
There's sort of a lot going on here. And I mean, in the end, the crux of this is that it seems to me that the ANC, in the form of Ace Magashule, the Secretary General, and then also yesterday the national spokesperson, Pule Mabe, here on Newsroom Africa, both being unable to answer a simple question, which is, should Zuma testify at the Zondo Commission? Should he comply with the Constitutional Court? Now, the fact that they can't just say yes seems to actually say quite a lot.
Well, it tells you that the ANC as a governing party is itself a problem to South Africa. Because if it was an organization that respects the rule of law, there should be no reason for Pule Mabe or Ace Magashule to bite their tongues when they are asked such a simple question. I mean, if I am accused of wrongdoing and you ask anybody if I should go stand before a court of law, it shouldn't be difficult because I am innocent until proven otherwise. So the fact that the senior representatives of the ANC are biting their tongues shows you that the ANC as an organization is no longer sure about the importance of the rule of law in South Africa. As a result, we as citizens, we must be very worried that we have a party that is in charge of our state that shows such ambivalence when it comes to the primacy of the rule of law.
It's an interesting point that you make, Prince, because if we go back in a little bit of history, and it's not even really that long ago, Nelson Mandela, when he was president, complied with the rule of law and the Constitutional Court in a case involving a man who was corrupt and probably racist. I'm talking about Louis Late. I mean, not someone that Nelson Mandela would have agreed with in any way. Then Thabo Mbeki, when he was president, complied with the Constitutional Court ruling that went against something that he really passionately believed in. I'm talking about the Navirapine ruling and HIV/AIDS and the policy of Mbeki's government at the time. Zuma himself, again and again, defended what had happened at Nkandla, and yet he too complied with the Constitutional Court ruling on that. What's changed now?
Look, I know and I remember the circumstances around the cases involving former President Nelson Mandela and President Thabo Mbeki. You see, you are touching on a very important, critical point here, Stephen, that there are essentially two ANCs. There is the ANC of old and there is the ANC that is new. The ANC of old was a party of statesmen who understood the importance of leadership in holding together a nation. So Thabo Mbeki, I would argue, was actually the last president of the ANC who understood the importance of holding together a nation. The new ANC is an ANC of rogues and criminals. What they are mainly concerned about, it's not about whether you and I as citizens live in a state that has a rule of law. Their main concern is to fill up their pockets with stolen money. And when they are caught, they do not want the constitution to hold because they know that the constitution will bite them. So that's what we are dealing with. We are dealing with a new ANC. So people who see the ANC colors, that they have not changed and think that they're dealing with the same organization, they are making a huge mistake. They are now dealing with a wholly different organization, which is no longer a political party in my view. If you look at the evidence that was presented at the Zondo Commission, it's truly a criminal gang.
Prince, if you're right, if this is the fall of the ANC, what next?
Well, here is the thing about societies or a country. A political party can fall and come to an end, but a country or a society does not fall and does not come to an end. 100 years from now, when you and I are in our graves, there will be a thing called South Africa, and there will be new citizens that will be living in this space. So to answer your question, what next? Those citizens must decide what they want to do with their country. So if there are citizens today who are worried about the mess that the ANC has become, they have the power to take back their country. The idea that the ANC, there is the ANC or nothing else, it's truly problematic. And South Africans must realize that that old ANC is gone. Now there is an ANC of criminals and rogues. The question is, what do citizens do with their own country? That is the answer to your question, what's next?
Now, Prince, I don't know if you've received an invite or even if you drink tea, and I'm afraid I only have water to offer you at the moment. I don't have a teacup that I can give you, but there's a very important 11s underway tomorrow. I believe it is, in fact, at 11, when the former President Jacob Zuma and the leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, are going to have their tea. Now, I mean, you and I will both remember the history here. I mean, it was Zuma who actually forced Malema. He started the process that forced Malema out of the ANC. It was he who oversaw the situation in which physical violence was used to remove Malema from the National Assembly. Zuma was present when that happened. Malema, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to use some of the language and the insults that Malema used against Zuma when you and I are talking together on TV, but they have a difficult, traumatic relationship. Why are they now having tea?
You see, you are making a big mistake, Stephen. You are starting where things did not start between Jacob Zuma and Malema. Things between Jacob Zuma and Malema started when Malema was president of the Youth League. Even before then, by the way, I think was secretary of the Youth League and was a powerful man in Limpopo. That is Julius Malema. At that time, Julius Malema was so corrupt that he essentially did what the Guptas did to the ANC at the national level. He captured the provincial government of Limpopo. And he was looting money left, right, and center to the extent that the provincial government of Limpopo collapsed. And it was even taken over by the national government. That's the beginning of the relationship between Malema and Jacob Zuma. And if you miss that part, you will be missing the explanation why they are meeting today. So, if you consider what I've just told you, Malema is a fundamentally corrupt leader. That is the most important characteristic he shares with Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma is also a fundamentally corrupt individual. So the meeting that is taking place tomorrow, what is it? Who are meeting? Two rogue elements are meeting. The fact that down the line, they had the differences that you are explaining does not change both their characters. They remain corrupt. They now realize that if they don't come together and destabilize the ANC, the state is going to bite them because both of them have got something to answer. So they are trying to compare notes and say, both of us are in the cold. What do we do to protect ourselves against the teeth of the state? That is what these people are going to discuss tomorrow.
Is this also, I mean, is this about the Zondo Commission? Is that what's bringing them together? I mean, there's been reporting, I think it was the Sunday Times who first reported that Julius Malema was being investigated by the Zondo Commission. There's been extensive reporting in Daily Maverick about the sort of claim that he benefited from the collapse of VBS, the looting of VBS. And then, of course, Zuma, we know, has been told he must testify at the Zondo Commission. Is that what's sort of brought up the 11s tomorrow, to make it happen tomorrow? That's the timing?
There is no question about it. Jacob Zuma knows, and he has seen the evidence that was presented before the Zondo Commission, so he knows that the cat is out of the sack. Malema also knows that he is being investigated, because by now he must have been contacted by the Hawks. Of course, he can't tell you and I, but we know that the evidence is out in the public domain. So what do both men do when they know that they face the prospect of going to jail? They drink tea together and plot together. My sense is that they are plotting to destabilize the ANC because they want to use the ANC as a shield to protect them from being prosecuted or eventually going to jail. So you are right. All of the things that you are mentioning, VBS and so on and so forth, are the very reason why Malema has made a request to go and meet another rogue in Nkandla, Jacob Zuma. So we must be very worried as South Africans when we see rogues meeting. But we must strengthen the state so that whatever they agree in that secret meeting does not actually get implemented to destabilize the South African state. Because if the South African state is destabilized, you and I as citizens are going to be in trouble.
Prince Mashele, really appreciate the time. Thanks very much indeed.